Hello and happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, it's great to have you here. We have a lot to get into, folks. Obviously, the talk of the town is going to be, of course, what happened yesterday. Finally, the ABK drama is almost over. Judge Corley will be making her decision, and we'll know about it as late as the 12th of July. We could know earlier, but that's when she said ultimately the decision will be unsealed. There are a lot of victory laps being taken by both sides, more so of the anti-Xbox community that seem to think that the FTC somehow was able to prove their case. I disagree. I think that they had some good arguments. I think that Judge Corley did an absolutely outstanding job as a federal judge. She asked some very, very finite and powerful questions on both sides. This really could go either way, but I was speaking, of course, to Everborn Saga and Keasante this morning, and they both had some really amazing points, which I'm going to use as talking points to calm your fears of why I believe that this is still going to go the way of Xbox and not the FTC, because the FTC, I don't think, did a good enough job to get the injunction. And I will break down why that is. But of course, we have to get into the panel. And first and foremost, making his debut is C Money. You've seen him as Mario Kart Madman on YouTube. The guy that podcasts with his entire family. He's been on with me on XVlog Live a couple of times. C Money, good morning, brother. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, this is exciting for me. Thank you guys for having me. Very excited to be part of the panel. Feels cool, to see everybody, meet everybody that I've been watching for a while now. So this is very, very exciting. And I'm looking forward to it, man. This is an exciting time where the trials are over. We got decisions coming up. I'm pumped. I'm ready.
It should be a lot of fun. We're gonna get into your hot takes and your takeaways from the 5-day trial that is now over. And we'll get what your feeling is. But I do want to welcome in Mr. Badbit, Mr. PlayStation himself, Mr. Trophy Hunter himself. Joe, how the heck are you, brother? Welcome to the program.
I was about to play Diablo and I saw your message, and now I'm here.
Now you are here. This is great. We love having you, folks. Yeah. You know what I'm going to wind up doing, because we have so many people on the panel. I'm going to move towards getting it like, there we go, so we can see everyone's beautiful faces and get everybody up. And I'll the footage for some reason is clipping anyway. But Joe, I do want to show. I do, before you get out of here later on, I want to show you Murder in the First Degree. Murder in the First Degree that I actually got on tape, folks. I went 22-11, and I murked an entire squad to actually win one of the games I was playing in Halo Infinite. I got all 4 of them, one after another, like Jason Voorhees killing camp counselors. And I have it on tape, folks. It was amazing. Probably one of my greatest moments as an old man. Like a 52-year-old man murked all of these dudes and went 22-11. It's probably one of my best Halo runs, at least this season. Joe, how the heck are you, brother? Welcome.
Doing fantastic. I am not even a centimeter away from hitting level 85 in Diablo. Oh, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on this deal, and I'll get on out of here so that everybody else can just keep crushing it, because maybe y'all need the Sony perspective today.
You know what? We will get to your hot take, and we'll get you in and out. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us, of course. And of course, let's welcome in Web Dave. Dave obviously is normally on camera. He's been having some issues with he'll figure it out. Dave, good morning, brother. How you feeling? Dave stepped away. He's having so we'll come back to Dave momentarily. Dreadpool, how are you feeling, brother? Because I know, like myself, we had some health issues. Are you back to full power?
Oh, good morning, everyone. I am as back to full power as I can. I am ready to rock and roll. I got my coffee here, and you're gonna love this. Before I had my coffee, I sat down. I got my salmon. My wife decided she was gonna grill that on the grill with a charcoal heat. So it's got some good flavor. Got some asparagus. Got some toasted up potatoes.
That is some heck of a breakfast. Holy
I
know.
That was. Are you sure you're not having dinner?
Well, it's dinner for me, but it's breakfast for everybody else.
But it is dinner for you. Huh?
She's been working on forcing that healthier diet per se. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Heart's strong as bull.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
nice.
But yeah, happy to be here, and can't wait to talk. And it's been a while, Mr. Badbit. Welcome.
I know.
And see Money. Welcome also for your first time popping your chair.
Man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great time, guys.
Yes,
and
we are.
Before I forget, I've got 2-for-1 Sharpies for sale.
Oh, nice. make sure they're the real ones, not the Dollar Tree ones, because the Dollar Tree ones you'll be able to see through, which is what Sony used. But listen, Dave, good morning, brother. How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. Sorry, my boss was sending me a text.
I actually got to take. I actually got a call. I got to take in a second, but I'll hand it off to you in a second. We'll get your hot take. But Fuzzy Belvedere, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be here with you guys, and welcome aboard C Money, and welcome Mr. Badbit. Glad to have you on this morning. Man, this ABK deal, yeah, it's dragging on, but some nice juicy stuff being highlighted or blacked out, or I don't know. I guess they got the highlighter
attempted to
get that. I mean, we're gonna get into what happened. Obviously, we're gonna get everyone's hot takes. We'll get some of the stuff that have come out of it. We get finally some Xbox numbers of what they sold so far in the Xbox Series X and S, and what they did last gen. But you know what? Before I take this call, because I'll be back in 5 minutes, folks, I'm gonna go to Joe because we only have him for a little bit. Joe, let's get your feelings. Let's get your overall hot take on what happened with the case so far from a Sony perspective.
From a Sony perspective, and don't worry, Boom. If you're still gone by the end of my rant, I'll move it over to.
I'm going to be on 5 minutes.
I'll pretend to be Boom. So as a Sony fan, the last few years, right? It feels like years. It's only been a year and change. I wanted to I think my mind has gone back and forth with this deal. Like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it whatever it is? And truthfully, I'm not like one of these creators you see, I forget one of those names, that's like, oh, I know what's going on, but I'm playing dumb. I'm just legitimately dumb. So, for me, I was just like, okay, is all what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing just like fanboy talk? Like, is there actually something here that I'm missing or are we missing as a collective unit? And I think to an extent we did. When it came to the CMA stuff, we were all talking about Call of Duty, but their main complaint was with streaming. So I do think we've been led astray in certain aspects, but for the broader picture of what's been going on here, I feel like I'm the judge at this point going, so it's all about Call of Duty? And if there's a deal on the table for Call of Duty, then can we just move on past this? I think Microsoft did a really good job of convincing me why they actually need this deal. I think they illustrated a good point, and I think they illustrated a woes us, we're in last place, but don't ignore, please ignore our profits. We're doing better than we ever have, but we're still in last place, and we need to make up ground. That argument was really, I think, successful, because even after everything said and done, I'm like, yeah, it kind of seems like they need it. And at the end of the day, I don't think this is a big of a play for console as it is for, PC or mobile. But I definitely see Microsoft's focus is trying to build this storefront that could take on Apple and Google. I wish them luck, but I really also see them trying to go after the PC market in terms of using Blizzard's IP, using Call of Duty, for example, as well, to kind of go, hey, look at PC players. We're here. We got Bethesda titles. We got Blizzard titles. This has to be enough for you guys to subscribe. subscribe for $10 a month. That's where I see the bigger play on. And at the same exact time, I do see them eating at the market share of Sony. And whether it's going to be a considerable chunk, I don't really think so. But I do think that they're going to make some considerable, some gains in that marketplace as well. And that's fine because that's competition. Because when you look at the numbers right now, it's something we've been trying to echo on the trophy room for the last few months is like, while we're all sitting out over here on social media arguing about some type of console war, it's really not close.
Not even. You know what, Joe?
It's almost
this is why I love having you on here. You speak from the heart. You speak from the truth.
Thanks,
Look, folks, the truth of the matter is this. I'm an Xbox guy. I understand Xbox is in third place, but they're not in just third place. They're in third place.
Yeah. I mean, 21 million consoles sold isn't something to scoff at for sure. It's still decent, but when you take a look at PlayStation 5's dominance at 38.5 million, I think
they're probably closer to 40 right now.
Absolutely crossed it.
Maybe even 41, 42.
Yep.
Because, folks, search social media. First of all, if you're just buying a PlayStation, congratulations, you got a great console. Let's call a spade, but they're flying out the door. They're flying out the door, Joe. So they could very well easily be 41 million. And when you consider 21, that's 2 to 1.
So, it's kind of like what the judge said. It's like, okay. And a couple of times they're like, all right, but this is about Sony. How does it affect the consumer? I understand what I think the FTC's argument is trying to be is like, well, there's really only in the model that they've sought after, there's really only two big competitors here. And that's small enough as it is in terms of ecosystems that, collide with each other, and that's why it seems like they're all aboard the Sony Pony Express. But at the same exact time, it's like, no, this isn't great for Sony, but right now it seems like a pretty good deal for consumers. And I'll echo what Ty Guy Travis said on the Big Cast, on Sunday, which is what it seems like they're trying to regulate before the regulation actually needs to happen. Usually these things happen while while the deal has happened, and now they're looking at it going, oh, okay, now it looks like it's going one way, we need to step in or we need to interfere. It seems like, and I've been going outside of gaming for this, so because I am no expert. It seems like what the FTC is doing is trying to show companies that want to do these crazy mergers, hey, look at all the legal headaches that we're going to put you through. So please don't do this. And I think that's what this Activision, Microsoft deal is at the end of the day. It's kind of like a wedge for all the, bigger companies out there that want to merge or want to buy certain things and go, whoa. If you try to do this, we're going to make you waste even more money trying to figure more time and money to try to figure this out. So that's what I think of at the end of the day. As a Sony guy, I feel like this thing goes through. Is it a bummer for me that in 10 plus years from now, when Diablo 6 is out or 5 is out, and I probably won't be able to play it on the ecosystem of choice? Sure. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like most of the people I've talked to, which is like this buyout doesn't affect me much. I'm still going to play the games that I was going to play. Nothing really changes for me. So that's my long-winded rant. As a Sony guy,
it's honest.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is, brother. But listen, I don't want to hold you up from level 86. I just hit level 77 in the Halo Battle Pass.
Oh,
I have Mrs. Boom and I have not played Diablo. We're going to start this weekend because we had family over, and she's working. She comes home exhausted, so we have not. It's great. All the updates are there. We're now going to get into it, and hopefully she likes it. And if she doesn't like it, I'm still going to play it through it solo because I see everyone playing, and I really want to see what this is about.
I've been dancing between Diablo and Final Fantasy. It's It's been so good for video games. And that's the
Gaming
bottom
has
line,
been a lot
man.
of fun. I mean, like ultimately, like I
This
don't know.
year's been nuts.
You know what? You know what? While you're here, Joe.
Yeah.
Let you know what, folks. Bear with me as I just change the graphics for a second. I'm gonna pull it full screen as I normally do. Put everyone in the box that they here we go. I want to show everyone Murder in the First Degree. Joe, I'm gonna put this on there. Let me just add this to the stream.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please. Watch this.
Ooh.
Now watch this. This
Look
again.
at that
This is my leg lamp, folks.
Yeah.
This is my personal leg lamp. Here we go. Watch this. Merc 1, Merc 2, Merc 3. Goodbye. Match over. I gained 4 levels in the sub thing and 2 levels. I went 22 and 11. This is my leg lamp, folks. I had to share it with everyone, and I share it with Joe because he's here. So
I love it.
There you go. Joe, thanks so much for joining us, brother. We will get this out of here. We'll get back to our normally scheduled program. Joe,
guys.
yeah, enjoy. I love you, brother. We'll talk soon.
See you, Joe.
Yes.
Later, Joe.
Let me get this everyone back where they belong.
Take
Just give me a
care, Joe.
second. And there we go. All right. So listen, again, folks, this is why I like having Joe on. I know that a lot of people give him, like crap on social media. I really wish you wouldn't, because the best way I love to describe Mr. Badbit and the way he runs the trophy room is the way that we do it here. He is I'm an Xbox guy. I'm an Xbox first guy. Everyone knows that, right? I don't shy away from it, but I have my PlayStation and I enjoy it for what it is. For me, it's a first party machine. Nintendo is mostly a first party machine, right? That's what I play Nintendo 7 days a week with Mrs. Boom. We're doing the Animal Crossing thing. We sell our turnips and we go to each other's island and have fun. Big old nerds. What can I say? But Joe is on the PlayStation. He's a PlayStation guy. That's his shtick. He has an amazing show called The Trophy Room with his best friend Kyle. They do an amazing job. And he's someone that I care about personally. Honestly, I know him outside of podcasting. And I love the fact that he came in here today, and is talking about his honesty. So I do want to move the conversation over to another guest who's making his first debut, not on Double Barrel Gaming, but of course here on Breakfast with Boom. C Money. I want to get what you're feeling, because I know that there's a lot of people in the community that have like this nervous sense of an epic fail coming. I'm gonna try and calm those fears with some of the information that I got and some of my feelings. Again, it can go any way, but C Money, what is your ultimate feeling coming off of the case finally being done yesterday?
If I'm taking it based off of literally what I listened to over the Zoom call, and I heard the court case and I heard how the judge was reacting to everything that was being said, taking away any random possible thought process that might pop into her head later on, I don't see a way that this goes in FTC's favor. I just can't see it. Day after day, they were just making themselves look like fools with the questions they were asking. Like they did what it feels like is they did no research, right? Like they did the bare minimum to be able to step on the court and actually say something. I just don't see it. I don't see how they can come so unprepared. I felt like I was watching like a mock trial for like law students. You know what I'm saying? Like they were just taking their first stab out there, seeing how it played out. I think the hard part for the FTC is that at the end of the day, there's not really much to go on. The last day, we have people thinking that they did, it was the best day that they had, right? But it was just the best of the worst day, right? So like, just because they did slightly better, they didn't do great. They, even at the end when they're giving their closing comments and you're hearing them, like during the closing comments, the judge is literally going in on what they're saying and doubling back on them and kind of putting into perspective, like, how is this hurting the consumer? Especially, I know everybody, because it was all over the place when the FTC was like, this is about protecting Sony. Like, how can you like say that during this trial? Like, how can you actually allow yourself to say those words? And she immediately snapped back at them like, no, this is about protecting the consumers, you know? So, I mean, again, when I sit back after everything and all the days of hearing all the different testimonials and all the different executives that were out there, my feeling is the same that I felt going in is what I feel coming out. This is a wrap for the FTC. Xbox is going to get their win. They're going to move forward on the purchase, and it's smooth sailings after this. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice. I think Boom had to step away for a second, take another call. is what happened. So so with that, I guess Fuzzy, why don't you go ahead and give your thoughts on this?
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
are you
sorry.
back? Okay,
I was
there
on
it is.
mute. Sorry about that, Dave. Yeah.
No worries.
We'll see money. Obviously, you're going to be with us for the remainder of the 2 hours of the show. I folks, just to give you the heads up, it's not going to go past 12, only because I got to go pick up my truck. I had to bring it in for service, and I got to fly out as soon as the show is done. I got to go take care of some personal business. But we're going to be here for 2 hours. We're going to give you an amazing show. First of all, let me just thank the 3 super chats that have already come in, and I really just want to say the amount of support through super chats and channel memberships in the last couple of months has just been unbelievable. Really, again, it's going to allow for us to really give back. Again, scheduled for this year in September, October, and November. September, November, December. Mrs. Boom and I are giving away $2,000. $1,000 for the Christmas holiday, and of course, the Mr. and Mrs. Boom's birthday bash is where it's our birthday. You guys get the gifts. We're giving $500 in September, $500 in November, and that does not count for the 15 copies of Stalker 2 that we're going to buy at full price to give away for a special event when that game is released. And we can't do any of that without the support of super chats and channel membership. So obviously, it's our way of not only keeping up to date with our equipment and our programs that we have to update every year, but it allows us to really give back in a way that even some of the bigger podcasts don't do. And again, it's something that we really want to do because we don't have a show without the community. And again, not to sell the brand, because if you're here, you're probably subbed. Maybe you're not. We're 257 subs away from 13K. Do we hit that? I don't know, but hopefully soon enough. But real quick, the Collector drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Play Bramble." Dude, I downloaded. I'm going to get to it. It looks freaking amazing in Xbox Game Pass. PS, by the way. He says, "So amazing from Swedish development team, my peeps." And listen, I will definitely, it's downloaded. I'm a number, I count, and I'm definitely going to play it. I saw a preview of it. It looks really good. Tom from Toonami. Tom, good morning, brother, and thank you for the very generous $5 super chat and says, "Murder in the first degree? Do you mean by the judge against the FTC's closing arguments?" Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think both attorneys did very well at the closing arguments, even though the FTC guy has one of those annoying voices that you just feel like they're like nails on a chalkboard. He posed some. I mean, a lot of it is BS. It's called spade a spade. Some of his stuff was ridiculous. The fact that he kept mentioning Sony, if I'm the judge, I'm like, man, who are we here for? Are we here for consumer benefits? Are we here to protect or here to protect the market leader that isn't a market leader by a snippet? They're the market leader by 2 to 1. And that's and in the end, I understand that we're fighting, or Microsoft is fighting the good fight for the Americas against the FTC. But there is something to be said about this being a more wide range, worldwide theory of what Sony is already doing in the market. Make no mistake. Maybe Sony isn't your bag. Maybe you don't own a PlayStation. Maybe you don't even care about a PlayStation. But the fact of the matter is that they matter. They are the market leader. They have done some egregious things, not only to box out the competition, but also to their own fans. I'm being one of them. The fact that you got to still spend $10 to get an upgrade of a game that you've already beaten just for better graphics is egregious. The fact that their service is $1 more and it does not include day and date, and you're not even getting good indies in there. The last one was Stray, is also egregious. But I paid my $120 for the year for the service because I want, maybe there's going to be another Stray. I don't know, but we will get to that soon enough. Mr. Joanna Duck, a good friend of the program, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hello, Boom and great panel. Biggest takeaway from the ABK trial: Switch 2 confirmed, and Switch is Gen 9, and the judge loves it. Hashtag PCMR. Get a 4090." I love it. Oh my God. We have one. This is crazy, folks. Decado, a very, very generous friend of the program. Folks, he says, after dropping a ridiculous $50 super chat, like that is bonkers, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity. That's just crazy. He says, money games. What? Thank you, brother. But trust me, we're going to turn all of this around. Everything that we get, we turn it around and we put it back into giving it back to the community. The only reason why we haven't done like the normal, like, $100 here, $200 here, is because we announced the 15 copies of Stalker 2. That's going to cost us a significant amount of money, right? That's just do the math. What's 7643 times 10 is $760. Add another 5 copies, you're talking well over $1,000. So at the end of the day, we will at least match what we gave away last year. Last year, folks, we gave away nearly $3,600 worth of gift cards. And what we do that no one else does, and we're very proud of this, is the fact that we welcome our international listeners. So if you are outside of the United States and you win, we will send you whatever the equivalent of the winning gift card is in monies. Our only caveat is we use PayPal only because it protects us so we don't get scammed and we don't get our bank accounts, corrupted or anything. So if you're outside of the United States and you win, and we will pay the transfer fee and we will pay the denominational extra. Like, for instance, let's say if you're in, let's say, London and you win, and you're in the UK, your monies are worth a little bit more than ours. We will just pay whatever it is to make sure that you get the gift card that you won because you support Double Barrel Gaming, and we want to make sure that everyone gets taken care of. We also have Highlander 001, another generous friend of the program. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Great panel. All I want to say is I'm going to hold the line until the judge makes her ruling. Hogue Law is giving it 50-50. Yes, he absolutely is. And we love Hogue. And I know I feel so bad for him. Like, he hasn't been able to podcast, folks. He's recovering from a stroke, which we're still amazingly excited to have Hogue on this earth. And he's got to take his time. He came right back into it, and he might have pushed the envelope a little bit too much. So he's still tweeting. He's still doing his thing. But Hogue Law, we love you. And, listen, we're here when you come back, brother. I'm sure there's going to be another merger for you to talk about. Maybe it's Sega. But listen, let's get Web Dave in the conversation. Dave, before we do another roundtable of our theories, what were your personal takeaways from closing arguments? Because one of the things I'm starting to see on social media is that there are folks running these victory laps that somehow the closing arguments sided with the FTC. Now, I can see where you might think that. And if that's your opinion, not a problem. That's your opinion. I don't see it that way. I'm going to explain why. But Dave, what were your personal takeaways from yesterday's very heated at points back and forth?
Yeah, it was clear that the judge was going to do things her way at the end. And in fact, the FTC lawyer made the comment that oh, well, if this is, I was, expecting a, you know, to do a normal. He goes, but whatever is fine, because basically he was like, it's her court. She does what she wants. And the best thing about it was that she was cutting through a lot of the BS. Now, I mean, there was granted some points that she was trying to filter out that were like the FTC's points that were, either semi-valid or at least were worth looking at. And she, wanted to know more about those. But a lot of those, they didn't have the answers for. Even their own experts were, she was trying to bring it up. And he's like, well, how did he get to this 20%? And then they're doing all this. And she goes, no, how did he get to this 20%? Where is that from? And where is that in his documents? Show me that now. And they're, blah, blah, they're scrambling. And then the FTC guy even said at one point, can I phone a friend? He said it to the judge. We all heard it.
I literally
And
laughed
she's
when
like,
I saw that.
She's like, yeah, phone a friend. In fact, bring them on up here to talk to me. kind of like if you don't have the answers, somebody better have the answers. So yeah, it was, and that was where the point we were like, oh, she's not messing around, and she already has her mind on what she needs to know, everything she needs to come to a proper verdict in this, and to make a proper decision, and to and a good write-up summary to where it won't get it'll be very hard for somebody to come back and revoke anything that she has to say. And apparently, this is what she's known for. She's very good at what she does. Super Zoom, I love it. But sorry, Boom. That's the only thing I like about the shortcuts for StreamYards, is that sometimes it just it goes on its own.
No, you know
plane.
what it is? It's my thing. It's just because I'm always, one of my most important things is welcoming everyone individually. It's 650 people here, so it's hard to do. So sometimes when I'm typing away, you see me looking down. It's not because I'm sleeping like Mag does on my show all the time. F you, Mag. I hit one of the keys. I don't even know what I hit because I'm typing, and it changes the view, and I'm like, I did it again. I just want to smash the keyboard.
Well,
so
it's
whenever
because
you
it's a
see the view
shortcuts
happen, it's not because I'm being a boob. It's I'm trying to welcome in everybody, and I'm typing away. But yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with you, Dave. I think that the phone a friend thing was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, but call whoever you want. The fact that, and again, my issue is this is the United States government.
Yep.
They have limitless ability to get whatever they need to try this case. When you see that, I mean, obviously we're human beings, folks. We make mistakes. This is a high stake thing that's going on. This is a $70 billion deal. Is coming down to how the FTC presents their case and how Microsoft presents their case. I think Microsoft did a better job ultimately, but obviously as a human being, folks, we get nervous. It happens. So I don't fault him for scrambling, because sometimes again, I put myself in this in the seat for a second, because I've been on trial. Obviously, if you don't know, I'm a retired New York City police officer, and I locked up a lot of bad guys. And some things went to trial, and sometimes I was on the stand for 2 hours, getting browbeaten by a defense attorney. And I got to go into my notes, and sometimes you remember and everything because you are a part of the case. And sometimes you're hit with a question, you're like, I don't even know how to answer that, and you have to say, well, I have to. I'm not going to lie. If I perjure myself on the stand, folks, I'm going to lose my job and go to jail. So you got to be really finite on your point. So when the judge is asking you questions, if you don't know, you got to pause.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he I mean, I still think he's a boob, but
yeah, exactly. He, I mean, obviously he needed to, but you could tell he was flustered because he didn't expect it to be this demanding of a closing argument, and she clearly wanted to know the facts straight up. And there was two of the things I'll make a quick point on. One thing, and it was right before they took a 10-minute break. And he, kept saying, Sony this, Sony that, Sony this, Sony that. And he made the point that he said that, this is about us protecting Sony. And the judge immediately snapped and said, this isn't about protecting Sony. This is about protecting the consumer. And that's where she ended it. And everybody was like, oh, that was a mic drop for me, because it clearly, in his mind, I'm sure he didn't mean it quite that way, but that clearly summed up what the FTC is doing. And they're basing this, trying to stop the deal, because that's what the current administration wants to do, is stop big mergers. That's just what they want to do. And they want to set precedents by this case. And they don't have a case, because this is actually clearly the right thing to do. There's nothing wrong with this merger. There's nothing they can do to stop it. So they're going to throw everything they can at it. And she even made the comment. She goes, well, if you guys didn't rush to get this done, maybe you would have had more time to bring better witnesses, or to maybe do these different analysis that she was asking for, because the reason they're scrambling is because they know that Microsoft is planning on closing over them. And that's what they were trying to prevent. Oh, we got to get this thing in place. And right now they can't until she makes a decision. If she makes a decision and sides with Microsoft, then they'll be able to close in 5 days. If they do not, if she, for some reason, goes on the FTC, then this can actually get put back for another year or more with all these extensions that they want to do. And then that will subsequently kill the deal, because Microsoft isn't going to keep throwing, money after money after money. It just, because it's in, like you said before, Boom, it's stopping them from all these other little acquisitions and things that they had plans. And now we know what all these crazy, awesome plans are that Phil was thinking about. Phil's, Everborn Saga's over the moon. He's like, in fact, Everborn, one of his tweets was like, okay, just go ahead and give up on this and let's go on to Sega. And I'm like, dude,
It's
Sega
funny.
Someday.
It's funny you mentioned Sega, because we're gonna get it's one of the back end topics.
Cool.
And again, it to me is it's telling, right?
Yes.
It's certainly a suggestion. But Sarah Bond was in England. She was in London with her family vacation, and on her way out, on her way to the airport, she snapped a picture. And there were a couple of people that really are like internet detectives. If you superimpose on what she took a picture of,
zoom in,
it was the Sega building, folks.
Yep.
I don't think that was an accident. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to be said about where, it came out in the documents that they were ready to buy Sega before this deal walked through the door. They in the same year that they might have stopped the deal, they announced that exclusive partnership with the Super Games. And obviously Sega did what Sega did. It's like, oh, right now we're not interested in being sold. That's right now. You know what I'm saying?
They have to say that. Yeah,
they have to say that. So we will continue that conversation on the back end, because there's also a super chat here that talks about the Elder Scrolls 6 potentially being in 2026. We're going to get into that as well, because that might have been a boo-boo, or it just might have been the attorneys don't really know gaming. But
one last point.
Yeah, sure. But no, please.
I'm sorry.
Always point away.
This is the last thing, because you and me both were lucky enough to get in and listen to closing arguments. So when we listen to closing arguments, and tell me if I'm wrong, but everything I heard, and I mean everything, that was what the attorneys were saying on both sides, and the judge. If you were to pull apart and just pull out what the judge's comments and the judge's things that she said she was focusing on, what was important in this case, I really believe that she has already made up her mind that it's going to be, she's going to side on Microsoft, that there is no there, and that this is going to need to be able to to not have the order in place that would prevent them from closing.
Yeah, I have, and I agree with you. I think that if you really, if you focus on how the judge handled it, which I think she did, again, I just want this to be clear, she did an absolutely astounding job trying this case. She asked the hard questions for both. She went in on both when they didn't have the answer. I do not think that if you and I was very fortunate to get into all the days. I got into the Zoom calls. I kept trying. I was in there. I was going back and forth with Foss Patents, who was in the courtroom. If you look at how it was handled, it was as professional as you could possibly ask to be done. And she was as fair as she could be. Now, what does that ultimately mean? I think what it tells us is that she is a judge that's honorable, and that the distinction in ruling with the evidence that has been presented to her is how it's going to go. Now, whether that's for Microsoft or whether that's for Sony, see what I did there? For the FTC, we'll know by the 12th. But I do want to catch up on super chats. I also want to make mention of we have James 176, who's been a channel member. Holy matrimony, folks, for 35 months. He says, hope you're staying safe. Yeah, today I'm not doing so great, folks. The air quality is at 143 here in New Rochelle. That is not good. I'm okay. I'm breathing okay, but I got the AC going. I'm sorry if you hear it. It's not good. It's not a good breathing air. It's a little bit foggy outside over here. It's not apocalyptic like it was, where it was yellow and it looked like Division or Diablo. It's not that bad, but it's bad when it's supposed to be like around like 20, right? So it's fine. But thank you for the concern, brother. And let me just catch up on, of course, these super chats. And there's been quite a few of them. We have whole grain bread, and we're actually going to be talking about this, brother. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, did you hear that Microsoft attorney mentioned TE S6 release in 2026? Not sure if it was a misspeak or not, or if she was supposed to say it, but I was like, she said it. And we are going to talk about it, because if you remember, there were some questions and some comments made that Elder Scrolls 6 they have not chosen a platform, whether it's going to be exclusive or it's not. I think it is. That's just me. But listen, folks, even if it wasn't, what, as an Xbox fan, why would you care? Don't get involved with console wars. Play the games. If it's on PlayStation, if it's on PC, hell, if it's on Switch, more people are playing it. It doesn't matter. You're paying $15 a month or $17 a month now, and the other people are having to pay full boat. Again, that's for me. I know that the exclusive thing, oh, but boom, they have exclusive. I get all of that, but I don't care, because I'm getting it. My value, my value proposition for Xbox Game Pass is why I play all my games there, because they put so much into the service that who doesn't have a backlog that's I'm 6 feet, folks. I'm a pretty big dude. And and when you add my mohawk, 6'1", right? So my backlog is taller than my freaking mohawk. I mean, who doesn't have a backlog? So it's fine. But do I think Microsoft should retain exclusives to generate movement towards Game Pass? 1000%. Those 4 games that are in development for Activision, 2 of which might be open world space games from Infinity Ward and Treyarch, they absolutely should be first party. They should absolutely be exclusive if the deal goes through. But Elder Scrolls 6, I mean, I know people are going to be like, boom, you're crazy. And I hear you. I don't care about the exclusivity, because Microsoft isn't putting money in my bank account. But I, as a fan, I understand the need and the want for it. I totally get it, folks. But I don't care, because I mostly play on Xbox, so my service is always filled with games. But we have Blaha drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, it's comical that the FTC keeps comparing Elder Scrolls 6 to Call of Duty. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. Like, they could not be so different of the spectrums. First person game, a first person shooter versus a first person sword game. just bad. That just goes to show you that these people are just knuckleheads. They just don't know.
Well, even the other the attorney said, yeah, even if they were just misspoke and they were talking about the multiplayer ESO Elder Scrolls Online, that it's available on Sony right now.
She did say that,
and content parity. In other words, they have everything, all the downloads available. So even if you were talking about the wrong game, you're still wrong.
Yeah. It's again, the judge is going to take her time. She's going to go over all of the evidence, all of the witnesses' statements, all of the evidence that was brought by both sides, and of course, closing arguments are just that. They're closing arguments, but all of the evidence matters. I know I see some people like, "Oh, you see, Boom, closing arguments, FTC won." I'm telling you, as someone has been involved in actual real life trials, closing arguments are just exactly what they are. They're closing arguments to put a cherry on top of whatever case you're on. I don't think it's going to sway the judge one way or the other. The evidence that has been presented, the countless witnesses that were brought in and swore in under oath are going to be the determining factors. That's what's going to decide this case. Benny, one to many. What's going on, Benny? Welcome to the program, my friend. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom, I just wanted to say I love the show. It helps me get through the work week. I really appreciate everything you do for the community." You see, folks, the super chats, we love them, right? Obviously, they help us in a big way. But it's those comments, folks, that I love. I mean, it means that we're doing something positive for the community. Benny, I love you, brother. Thank you so much for the kind words. And we definitely appreciate that. Black Sausage, another generous friend of the program, drops a $5 super chat and says, "Please check out Army of Ruin. It's a more 3D take on Vampire Survivors. Only $8 on all platforms." Dude, I'm going to write that down right now. What did you say? What is it called? Army of Ruin. I'm going to check that out, brother. I love smaller games because one of my almost game of the year, like almost beat out Elden Ring, was Vampire Survivors. I mean, wow, what a game! That
was a banger.
Banger is not even the word of it. It's called crack cocaine. It is literally crack cocaine in video form. Because all I wanted to do was play that game. Let's see. Raiden Blade drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, "Xbox may want Call of Duty everywhere. If SIE had chosen to block ABK games, that's a them problem. But Xbox is putting their games everywhere and will be supported." I will say this, folks, and I think that even if you're a PlayStation dude or dudette, you have to agree with this statement. If the shoe was on the other foot, I can freaking guarantee you Sony would lock it up as exclusive. 1,000%. Not even a question. Not a cold day in hell would it be on anywhere else but Sony, because they want to sell a bazillion PlayStation 5s on their old model, and it would never, ever come to their service.
And no one would fight it.
No, it's okay. Sony.
IGN would be like, "Whoa, what a great thing! It's coming to PlayStation exclusively."
I'm sure. I'm sure there's plenty of them. They'll be like, "Oh, listen, that the Sony deals. They're the smartest ones in the room." But listen, Dreadpool, you've heard everyone. But I'm always very excited to get your take, because you not only come at these conversations from a gamer's point of view, which is what we are, but because you work for a company that had a buyout situation happen, you do bring in some real world and personal information and opinions. What was your takeaway from yesterday's closing arguments?
You know, Chris Rock, when he voiced the zebra,
I watched the third one yesterday.
That's what it reminded me of. Just watch. It was a culmination of the whole week that the FTC looked accordingly for the week. They looked much better, like they got the rhythm in, but it still didn't help. You know, if it wasn't for that, it just everything that everybody's already mentioned and said, it's mind baffling that we're even here, you know. And I'm probably going to be one of the few that will say it out loud. I am so glad that this thing is over. and we will have our verdict soon, at least on this side of it. But no, it just goes to show what the truth actually is, right? We're worried about PlayStation. We're not worried about the consumer, you know. And when you look at it on the outside, as a business, you know, even Jim said, I don't like that, but I don't see Starfield being anti-consumer by being exclusive to Xbox. You know, granted, I'm paraphrasing, but that's literally what he said. So when you look at it, nobody helped themselves that much when it came to fighting for this. And then with the judge coming back with, you know, that's why I said no Sharpies. You know, I mean, come on now, that was hysterical. And when you see that, you know that the judge already pretty much has everything she needs to know. She's already seen it. She knows it was all right. We have to do these proceedings properly. We have to have all this stuff, you know, all our ducks in a row. And unfortunately, I think she already has her outcome, but she still has to go through it and validate every single thing to make sure that everything is articulated properly, so there is no go back. And the other part about this is we also have to remember, whatever happens with this sets the tone for the rest of the FTC and any lawsuits that they put out. We have to remember. So it's not just about Microsoft, you know, I'm sorry, I should say Sony and, you know, versus consumers, but it's not about, you know, going after Microsoft. You know, they're the big name that, you know, that we know that they're trying to get notoriety because of this. We didn't have this issue with Disney, right? When Disney bought 20th Century Fox, the only thing they said is you can't have this news station. You got to get rid of the sports and news. You could keep this stuff here, no problem. Why is this big of a deal over one game, right? One game was the biggest deal that we have to protect. But yet nobody asked, can this go on PlayStation Plus? Can this go on here? Can it go the... But they wanted just to make sure that we literally have you swear under oath that it's going to be here. So when you look at the culmination of all this, it's just a circus show. It didn't make any sense and doesn't make any sense. But as the judge, she has to, like I said before, be very articulate with what she says, because this will set the tone for the rest of the FTC and any other hearings that come after this. And we already know that the FTC has already got somebody else in sight already. They've already, you know, it looks like they've already accepted this is a loss and we're moving on. So we'll see what happens. But don't count your ducks just yet.
I would say don't take a victory lap either way, to be honest with you, because like I said, she is. Look, I will be disappointed from a personal justice kind of a way, because I would feel like justice would not have been served if it gets blocked, only because of how consumers, which is us folks, we're podcasters, sure, we have channels, sure, we have shows, absolutely, but at the end of the day, we're consumers, right? So for me personally, as a consumer first mentality, I would be disappointed, because what this would be ultimately saying is that the government took the side of a market leader, and even though harm was not proven, Sony still won. Ultimately, Sony wins on this, and I would be disappointed. I would never even suggest that there's a corruption. Not with this judge. Judge Corley, I don't know her personally. I know her. I looked up her history. She's a 9th court district judge for a reason. She doesn't have a political angle in this. She's a judge for life until she decides to not be a judge anymore. So she's not worrying, oh, if I make this deal against Microsoft, will I lose? Will the president come in? She's in there. She's a life judge, folks. So there is no political angle here. Now, is there ultimately a bigger picture on her decision, of a bigger picture of importance? 1,000%. And I think all of that is going to weigh in on her decision. But ultimately, the way a federal judge handles something as prevalent as this case, it's judged and it is ruled upon based on actual finding of the evidence. I don't think that the FTC brought enough evidence to court for the 5 days to make their case to get a preliminary injunction, or a PI for short. But I'm going to give you my hot take after I speak to Fuzzy Belvedere. Fuzzy, what were how'd you walk away feeling yesterday after closing arguments? Because like I said, it's a mixed bag if you look on social media.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to get your take.
Well, I like the fact that the judge was still questioning or picking out certain things that the lawyers were making as far as their final statements or their closing arguments. She was still picking through some of the stuff that they were saying, as in she's been paying attention and she wants to make sure, well, wait, you're saying this, well, where's this number coming from? Or we're just focused on this particular thing, and or this other hardware and stuff along those lines. So it shows that, one, she's alert and aware and familiar with the material at hand. But it comes down to all this time that has been spent trying to fight this, the FT, and I don't want to get into the whole tax dollar wasting type of thing, but I have my own thoughts on that. But I take away that this judge is going to probably take more time and focus on the finite details and try to make sure that this decision can't be appealed or scrutinized later on down the road type of thing. And it'll be much like with the PS fanboys, case that she sat and judged against not too long ago. I think as far as the FTC, although I'm pretty sure they didn't really have a way to object, but that should have told them that they're fighting an uphill battle, and they really didn't make any trails up that hill during this whole matter. I'm pretty sure people look at it differently. Like when you're so in favor or so opposed to something, you're always going to see fine details that will favor your decision or your thoughts on it. But honestly, as someone, like, if you take away the whole console aspect of it from a gaming standpoint, the sheer focus more so on the platform as opposed to the consumer has to signify that maybe this was a bad faith argument on the FTC's part, especially considering their agenda has been something that's not consumer friendly related. It's more, I guess, trying to send a message to the tech industry that they can't seem to, I guess, either tax or collect a piece of the pie of some sort. But I think the big thing now is when we get back from the 4th of July holiday, whatever the decision is, and I'm leaning 70-30 that it's going to be in favor of Microsoft. Yeah, the FTC made some points because there are some wiggle room from with Bobby Kotick's statements and things like that. But in all honesty, I honestly think this was, I wouldn't say a slam dunk, but as close as you can get to a slam dunk for Microsoft, in the sense that we're trying to make sure things are everywhere. If the status quo remains in effect as far as Activision, it's not going to go everywhere, and or at least it'll be questionable if it comes to Nintendo and other things as far as some of their platform or some of their titles and such. But this whole thing has been entertaining nonetheless. But I'm glad next week we'll have somewhat of a decision, whatever it may be. But my gut's telling me it's leaning more towards without prejudice. She's going to dismiss this case, or kind of the same thing with the fanboys argument type of deal. And hopefully Microsoft will be able to make that closure thing by the 18th, regardless of the CMA, and move on from that. And that'll be the next spectacle that they'll have to face.
I mean, speaking of the CMA, I'm not sure if you folks are keeping your ear to the floor, and I would imagine that if you're following this show and you're here for it, and we have almost 750 people here, that the CMA tried some fugaziness to file to push the hearing or the trial, the CAT trial, out until October, and CAT, who's overseeing it, the tribunal, said no, and they had a lot of strong words for the CMA trying to do this at the 11th hour and disingenuous, and it was one of the words. So yeah, they're not. This is the even the Canada thing came weird. Like yesterday, the Canada announced that we have problems, but the thing with Canada is that they took so long that their opinion doesn't even matter. They can't block it. But they did suggest that they want the letter of their concerns for the deal sent to Judge Corley. Like, what are you even talking about? So to me, what that suggests is Lena Khan is desperate because she doesn't think it's going to go her way. Which is, I don't think it's going to go her way either, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But she made calls to Canada. She made calls to the CMA. Uh, and she said, "Hey, do these things for me. We got to get this deal blocked." That to me is collusion. But again, ultimately, if she did collude with foreign entities, that will come out. She's being investigated right now by both parties for abuse of power and abuse of authority, which is clearly something that she's doing. I don't know if they impeach her. She will not be back in her position once the new administration goes in. I don't think so. But before I get to the super chats, I want to kind of give you guys my opinions on it. First of all, again, I thought the questioning against the FTC was strong. I think that the judge stopping the FTC in his tracks, where I don't know about you folks, I got a little sick of hearing him talk about the what's going to happen to Sony, because clearly they are bargaining for Sony. That's what this is about. And that's not what their job is. Their governmental job is to protect competition, not corporations. And they're also first, even before protecting competition, they have to make sure that we don't get run over by that competition. And they're not doing that. That is clear that they have. If you have access to the 5 days, listen to what was missing from almost every argument for the FTC, and that was consumers. We were missing from their point of views why they wanted to stop this deal, because somehow this deal was going to be bad for us, and that's not in fact the case. So why do I think it's going to go through? Well, again, I got to give credit to Kay Asante, and I got to give credit to, of course, Everborn Saga, because we talk pretty much every day. And I had an amazing conversation with them this morning. And one of the things that the FTC was unable to do was prove that consumer harm was going to happen immediately after the deal is closed. Meaning what? Well, like Dave said, if the PI is not issued, Microsoft can, in 5 days, immediately close this. And that means closing over the CMA as they wait for the August situation with CAT. Now, again, if the FTC does not get it, they lose. So the CMA might be in a position to think, we don't want to be the only one standing on this island by ourselves. And you see that they have not filed their final report, where their final report can have evidence added to it, and they can change their decision, which they did last Friday with a car part manufacturer that tried to merge with another car part manufacturer. And they said new evidence was presented, and we are now approving the deal. They could do the same thing for ABK, which could very well happen. But this is the harm I'm talking about, folks. Currently, Call of Duty, which I'm glad the judge, because if you listen to it, they tried to talk about Diablo and they tried to talk about something else, and the judge's like, "Mo, hold on a sec. We're here because you said Call of Duty, so let's stay on Call of Duty." She said that Call of Duty currently is not available on cloud. It's not there. If this deal closes, right, if the PI is not given in favor of the FTC, Microsoft still can't put it on cloud because Sony has a contract for the marketing all the way through 2025, according to court. Now, we did learn that they don't have marketing in 2024. I'm not sure who's right, who's wrong, because I don't have the contract in front of me. But Microsoft cannot take ownership of full on running the gambit on Call of Duty until 2025, right? So what does that do, folks? Okay. One, there's no immediate harm. But most importantly, two, it gives the FTC time to have a case against Microsoft, meaning that no changes to where Call of Duty is going to go is going to happen, and the FTC is going to have time to try their case if they decide that they want this case to go forward, and Microsoft's going to have to litigate the case in August. But the most important thing is harm. There is no consumer harm with cloud. You can say whatever you want. All of that's it. The cloud gotcha moment, but they could not prove that cloud is a relevant market, and it's not. They cannot prove that cloud is a separate market. It is not a separate market. There's no way to say, hey, I want to go buy cloud for Xbox Game Pass and don't get anything else. It is a part of a service. It is all together. So they weren't unable to prove that. And I think that ultimately the consistent market share for Sony, we're going to hurt Sony, we're going to hurt Sony. I think the judge is going to take that into account, because, like I said, she even seemed a little aggravated that when she had to stop him and say, we're not here to protect Sony, we're here to protect the consumers. So are consumers, meaning us, going to be harmed if a PI is not issued? The answer is no, it's not, because Game Pass is not getting Call of Duty, right? Sony has the marketing, and in that marketing rights, they can say, and we know that it's this to be true, that Call of Duty cannot go to other streaming services. You know who just got Call of Duty on their streaming service? PlayStation. That's right, folks. PlayStation Plus Premium, you get Call of Duty Black Ops on there. That was just that happened literally just a day ago, and it was announced all over the place. Pretty suspicious, right? That it's on there, but it's not on Xbox. And it won't be on Xbox because Sony has the marketing rights through 2024. So you can't put any Call of Duty. Now, what does that mean for Call of Duty 2024? I actually don't know. Because from again, if you listen to the courts proceedings, they can't do anything until 2025. So what does that mean? I don't know. I don't have the contract in front of me. So for me, looking at what was presented, I'm kind of like with Fuzzy. I'm kind of like 70-30, because like I said, the FTC did make some arguments. I don't think they were great arguments, but they did make some arguments. And ultimately, the judge is going to have to decide whether or not, if she believes that the consumers are going to be hurt by allowing this deal to close over the FTC's attempted block, will we be hurt? Now, there's, I mean, I could probably go on for another hour just talking about this, but there's one other really important finite point that I want to drive home. And I want to drive it home because the judge made mention of this multiple times. Now, one of the things that the FTC showed concern with was they meaning Microsoft, was going to integrate Activision into Microsoft, making it harder for the FTC to fight and present a divestiture, right? But it turns out that, in fact, is not the case, because Bethesda, even all those years after they were purchased, are running their own ship. And under oath, they have already confirmed that they are not going to integrate. They're not going to integrate Activision. So if the FTC were to win and force Microsoft to divest Activision, it would be just, okay, we have to sell off Activision or sell things off, sell off Activision. Let's say keep King and Blizzard. We sold Activision off. That would not be a problem. Now, if they were going to integrate and the FTC ran the point, if they integrate, we won't be able to split them up. It'll be too hard because, the HR offices are together. That's not going to happen. They're going to run Activision separately the same way, which again, evidence, it's proof. They're running Bethesda the same exact way. So these are two, again, it's my opinion, and I could be a freaking 1000% wrong, but maybe I'm not. And those 2 points, I got again give credit where credit is due. Speaking with Everborn for about an hour and a half this morning, going back and forth on this. I wanted to use it in the conversation that we are having. Those are my personal thoughts of why I think the deal is going to go through. I am 70-30. I was less confident last night, to be honest with you. But this morning, getting these finite details, I'm kind of like I said, for me, Fuzzy, I don't think it's 100% slam dunk. Not even close. It's law. It's a human being's opinion, and it's her opinion. It's Judge Corley's opinion. It's going to be a pretty big one. But I think that she is going to do what is right and what the evidence that has been produced for her to make her decision. I don't think the FTC did enough to sway her or authorize a PI. That's just my personal opinion. But again, folks, I could be wrong. Now, I kind of want to talk about this Elder Scrolls 6 thing because there's some theories running around. We're going to get to that. But before we do, folks, my God, the super chats, they're bonkers. So I have to, of course, read them first. We have Raiden Blade, generous friend of the program, just a very generous £2 super chat and says, Judge Corley baked and bagged the FTC lawyers. Yeah, she kind of did. But the FTC lawyers kind of set themselves up for failure with stupid questions. Like some of their comments were just, I don't mean to be rude, because he's probably way more educated than I'll ever be. And that's fine. I am who I am. But some of his questions were just so dumb. They're just really just head scratching, like a kick the can kind of a, what is happening here situation. So listen, if I will say this, don't ever piss off a judge. And I've never done that. I've never pissed off a judge. I've seen other people piss off. In fact, I actually saw a lawyer, get held in contempt of court and taken away by the bailiff. I saw that happen. I was like, can I get off the stand now, please? So it happens. People are just D-bags, and sometimes the judge, you don't mess with a judge. I will say that. We also have Highlander 001 drops an additional and very generous $2 super chat and says, you're one of the most positive YouTubers. Dude, that is very kind of you. Folks, I make no mockery of this. What you see here is what I was in uniform, which is why I was blessed with the and coined officer friendly, because I love everybody. People matter. I don't care where you're from. I don't care your religion. I don't care your sexual orientation. I love everyone until you make me not love you. And if you're a D-bag, you're a D-bag. But even D-bags deserve love. So I try to be as welcoming and generous and fun. And I'm glad that you folks are enjoying it. And of course, thank you for the very high praise, Highlander. I honestly and truly appreciate it. We have let's make sure I get this right. Kairu the Gamer. Kairu, welcome, brother. And thank you. My goodness. He says, I love you, Boom. And I got to say, I love you too, brother. Thank you for being here. But folks, he drops a $20 super chat. My God. Thank you, brother. I super appreciate it. We also have Fanto Sir. Fanto, how you doing, brother? Welcome back. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I was going to upgrade from my PlayStation 4 Pro to the PlayStation 5 for the exclusives. But after this hearing, I'm not giving Sony money. It just doesn't sit right with me. And you know something? That's a real world thing right there. Like for me, I won't give Square $1. Now I want to play Final Fantasy 16 because it looks really good. But how I'm going to get it is I'm going to buy it from eBay. I'm going to get it secondhand because I'd rather give someone else the money. I'm not giving Square $1. I'm just not going to give Square $1 for a multitude of reasons. For me personally, is I don't like their ideology about the way they treat people and races and creeds. That really sits, like, it leaves a disgusting taste in my mouth with some of the things that have come out of Square. Now, that's a personal thing. That's because my brother's African American. So when I hear stuff that's anti that, I get very angry. And that's why I will not support Square. Nothing. I will not support anything Square does until new management comes in and they prove that their ideology is an anti-race, and they haven't done that so far. And Final Fantasy 16 is a perfect example of their excuse of why no African American representation is in there. It's stupid, but that is just one man's point of view. You know, is he racist? I don't know, but I won't support the company, but I will buy it used. So and because I do want to play it. It's I like Final Fantasy, but I'm not giving Square $1 of my money. Simon Brandy drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, what will Sony and Microsoft's relationship be like after the case? Matt Booty's email may become Xbox's policy. Sony may regret being a snitch. They burnt a lot of bridges, but I just don't think it's the Microsoft one alone. I think ultimately what Sony has done is allow for the bridges have been burnt with the industry. What Sony did by making this mockery of this deal was take a giant magnifying glass and put it on gaming. And now every time someone's going to want to acquire someone, it is going to be an uphill battle with the FTC and the CMA and the EU. And it's not good for business. I'm not saying anything should be done illegally, but there's going to be more trials and tribulations of market consolidation, which needs to happen because smaller companies need the financial help. Gaming is getting even more expensive and it's 10 times more than it was a decade ago. So consolidation, some people don't like it. I hear you, but it has to happen. Otherwise, some companies die. Microsoft doesn't purchase Ninja Theory. Are they still here? I don't know. I mean, what about the RPG Maker? Oh my God. Not Obsidian. What's the one that makes the
In Exile?
Thank you, sir, for the save. Yeah, In Exile. The owner was going to retire, and he was going to close down the business. But now he was rejuvenated because now he doesn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul to make a game. Consolidation has to happen, folks. We also have Highlander 001 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if the FTC loses next week, the CMA will change their mind soon after. I believe it will happen in a week. I think it comes next Thursday, playing Diablo 4 on my ROG Ally at Duncan's. Good for you, brother. I mean, that's awesome. I love my ROG Ally, and I'm actually messing around with settings and things. So I'm not PCMR yet, but I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable with it. That thing is a beast, man. Amazing. It's gonna be my Starfield handheld for sure. We have Bam Zahard. Bam, brother, welcome to the program. His name I haven't seen before, but welcome. He drops a $5 super chat and says FTC's doom scenario is 5.9 market share, even if it's just US market and PlayStation versus Xbox. How is a 5.9 share shift anti-competitive market lead? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, folks. I'm going to get to your other super chats. I want to continue the conversation as we close in on 800 people here. So I want to go to we'll go to Fuzzy first on this. Was this a mistake of suggesting that in 2026, which is only 3 years from now, we're going to get Elder Scrolls? Because we did learn 2028 is going to be when we get new consoles, right? That's pretty much confirmed. And if you kind of go with what Phil said about 5 years, give or take, for Elder Scrolls 6, that would line up as a launch exclusive potentially. And that would move mountains. That would be God of War level console selling. So who do we believe here? Was this a lawyer boo-boo? And what do you think, man?
It's funny. I kind of joked about a few games being like, in 2026 that end in 6. Grand Theft Auto 6 being one of them in 2026. But I think Elder Scrolls 6 in 2026 is a possibility. It may have been a slip up based on normal estimates as far as most games now, and they've already made statements. Matt Booty's made statements. Phil Spencer's made statements that most games are in like a 5 or 6 year window, or at least a 4 to 6 year window kind of thing. So just based off of that, without like knowledge directly from Bethesda, let's say 2026 is a good guesstimate for, at least from a court case standpoint, as far as when they're talking about exclusives and such. But I wouldn't be surprised, but I kind of feel it may be a little bit longer than that. Like that might be the target that's on a whiteboard somewhere in Bethesda Studios or something. But I don't know if that's going to be a realistic one, just because there's probably going to be some other games that may bump some of that time frame back. Like I totally expect almost like a Elder Scrolls or like a Skyrim Online kind of thing for Starfield at some point. I don't know if that comes out before Elder Scrolls 6 or somewhere shortly after, but I think 2026 is reasonable, and it may have been a slip just based on inside target numbers as opposed to like realistic, oh, this is Todd saying, yeah, it's definitely 2026 kind of thing.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue if it comes out 20. I love Elder Scrolls. My favorite still is Oblivion. I know people, Oblivion is just so good. And I mean, I love Elder Scrolls 5. It was great, but my heart is Oblivion. It's so good. And you know something, I was part of the problem, folks. I might have started a revolution. I bought the horse armor. Yes, I did. I bought the stupid horse armor. But
it's your fault.
It is absolutely my fault, 100%. Listen, let's bring in C Money. Let's get your hot take on this, because I again, from a businessman's point of view, you turn around and you tell the world, here's our next Xbox console. It's going to be the most powerful one until it's not, right? But you say we're launching with Elder Scrolls 6 as an exclusive. I gotta be honest, I kind of like that. I kind of like that for Xbox fans and potentially new Xbox fans.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? I mean, was this a boo-boo by a lawyer not really knowing, or?
So, I mean, just kind of like Fuzzy said, it could have been something that internally that Todd might have projected that out at some point, right? Because he did have that interview with Ryan where he said that it's not quite that long, right? Like Ryan has said another 5 years or 6 years after. It's like, well, it's not going to be quite that long because a lot of the fundament, like the foundation was done at the same time, right? So you're kind of skipping that portion. So, I mean, 2026, that's another 3 years from now. If they're going pedal to the metal, that's great. But all I could think of is that's Todd's time frame. So if you take 2026, you put that to when he put down 2021, right? And then you have to add 2 years after that, right? So 2028, consoles launch exclusive. I think that's the way. I mean, honestly, if you're going to jump into this, you figure this is like them really building out their foundation this generation, right? They lost the last generation. That was a done deal, right? So this is where they're making all their power moves, right? Bethesda, Activision, soon to be, it's going to happen.
Yep.
And then if we take that list that was out there and some words that have been said, looks like Sega might be joining the battle, right? And then who knows who else on that list they're going to be hitting, right? So they're doing all their foundational work almost like they did when in that 2018 E3 when they announced all those studios, right? Like those studios are now producing the games that we've been waiting for this generation.
Yeah.
They need more, right? So they need these guys working on the next stuff after this, and then whoever they bring on kind of supporting that next future. But what better way to start a generation off than when to say Elder Scrolls 6 launch day, be there. It's especially after Starfield. Like once Starfield, shakes the earth when it launches, right? Everybody's gonna be riding so high on Starfield to then know that the next, essentially the last, theoretically speaking, Elder Scrolls that Todd is gonna make himself. Come on, as your launch game, that's going back to That's going back to Halo 1 launching for the original Xbox, right? That's how you make a mark, and you take those people who are on the fence, whether they're gonna, go Sony or go Xbox this year or this generation. You launch them right into the Xbox camp right away with a banger like that. Like that's just money, right? Not to mention that what it would do, you figure from now to then, what does Game Pass look like? How big are they at with the numbers? What are they at? They said 25 million subscribers on Game Pass. I'm pretty sure.
They're upwards of past 30. 30.
Yeah. So you're talking over 30. With all these big games coming out, who knows where they'll be come,
I think
gen.
you're going to see a significant jump when Starfield releases because it is an exclusive,
sure.
and I think that they're going to really push the envelope. With Xbox Game Pass, Family Plan, hopefully by end of the year. This is going to drive Game Pass sales through the roof, and I would say that if I was a betting kind of a guy, see money. I don't even think you're going to see a jump on console. I do. I think you're going to, but I think PC is where it's going to really expand.
Yes. Bethesda's, their bangers the PC loves that, right? They love everything that they put out because it's a modder's paradise, right?
Yeah.
Like you could only imagine like the top modders that are out there, just savoring at the bit to get Starfield out, right? Because this is, you figure you pick a planet, it's yours, just build, do whatever you want, create the biggest mod that you ever did. Like there's just so much potential that comes when Bethesda releases one of their bangers, one of their big boys. And on the PC world, that's exactly what Xbox wants, right? They want the PC side of things to boost up, and that's their biggest market outside of mobile that they can grow in, right? And there's no better way to do it than with a Todd Howard joint. Everybody loves the Todd Howard joint.
A lot of people were wondering if this is going to be his last game. It's not actually.
That's last game.
Yeah. So on top of that, you have Indiana Jones confirmed exclusive. He's working on that. He's producing that, so that's going to be dope. And I think that his magnus opus, if you will, is probably going to be Elder Scrolls 6. So, he obviously puts that out. He stays on for a little bit, then he retires. And maybe he doesn't, because, Todd likes to work. So it's hard to suggest one way or another. But great points, C-Money, as always. Web Dave, let's get your hot take on this. Now, obviously, we've seen people going back and forth about, is it 2026 or does 2028 make a better, new console, like C-Money was saying, to be a monster exclusive? By then we could have a, Halo could be rolling, Gears could be rolling. It would be pretty big. Where do you kind of fall on boo-boo or, a reality?
Well, in that same sentence, she said Elder Scrolls 16.
Yes, she did.
And then she gave the date. So it's possibly that she had the Final Fantasy 16 kind of stuck in her head. Even though she's a Microsoft lawyer, she probably isn't quite as proficient.
She's not a gamer. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have been a misspeak on her part. I hope it's true. It'd be great if it's coming out that fast. That'd be great. But it would make more sense if it is a little further off, for the simple fact that as much time and effort they're putting into Starfield, we want them to put that much time and effort into Elder Scrolls. And if it became a system launch game for whatever's next for Xbox, for the next console, holy snikes. And exclusive system seller, maybe they come out of third place. Maybe they work their way up from third place. Just saying, it makes a lot more sense for them to take their time with that and to focus on what they need to focus on now. Todd said, there's like a small team, getting things together for it. So I think it was a misspeak. And would I mind it sooner? Of course not. But I'm probably pretty busy playing Starfield for a while to need Elder Scrolls. Maybe in 28, then I will maybe need something new to play. You know, who knows? With all the mods and stuff that are going to Starfield, it's gonna be pretty amazing. But yeah, it's I think it's possibly a misspeak, but even then, you know, a lot of things coming fast and furious, especially at that part in the trial with the closing arguments and the judge just cutting people off and just trying to get them to the point, and you know, and then throwing things back at him. I think it was just a it could be easily someone could easily misspeak in at that point. So that's, you know, but not trying to bring anybody down or depress anybody. Like, home elder, I wanted to.
Yeah. No. I mean, listen,
worth the wait.
It is going to be worth the wait. Now, no. Listen, the reality is that we are this year, in a couple of months, going to play listen. I'm not saying this from an Xbox point of view, right? I'm saying this from a gamer's point of view. When Breath of the Wild came out, right, and it launched with the Switch, it was a generational game. Okay, and in the same year, right, Nintendo released Mario Odyssey, another generational game. When God of War 2018 came out, whether you hate or love Sony, God of War 2018 took an old dude that was from a different perspective and a whole different era and gave us basically you were playing a movie. God of War 18 is brilliant on a 10 out of 10 level. Now, you don't have to agree with me, and if you don't, I get it. I hear you. You know, he can't jump, so the game sucks. Okay. I mean, listen, that's how you feel. That's a generational game. Starfield, coming out in September, is going to be one of those types of releases that everyone who does not have an Xbox is going to be like this. Wow, that grass is really green on over there. And I'm telling you, it's going to move consoles, and it is going the same way you see people jumping out of windows to get their hands on a PlayStation 5 because Spider-Man 2 is going to be, pun intended, absolutely amazing. People are going to look at Starfield and be like, holy, I've always dreamt of being a spy. Most people are pirates. Pong Soul, I draw a tear for you, sir, because like my brother, he told me if this was multiplayer, I would be dead because I'm going to be a lawman. You're going to expect I'm going to hunt pirates. It's what I do. But everyone wants to be a pirate. But what's great about Starfield is you could be whatever the H you want to be, and that is the type of experience. First of all, how many people? First of all, we got almost 800 people. It's dropped a little bit because we're getting closer to the end. But of the 800 people here, who hasn't? Come on, be honest, folks. Be honest. Put it in the chat. How many times did you watch that Starfield Direct? Folks, I'm not going to front. I watched it 8 times. And all I can think about is freaking Starfield. When I'm playing other games, I'm like, God, I wish I was playing Starfield. I mean, it's look, Fuzzy Belvedere 8. There you go, brother. And Game Pass Daily. I should have expected. He could be a great guy. He's going to be a pirate too. That doesn't surprise me, sir. It doesn't surprise me at all. But listen, yeah, throw it in there. Iman Burns 5 times, Gotham Guy 6 times, Suicide Kings 5 or 6 times, Smokey 9 times. He beat me. Jay 4 times. Nighturnal. I love this comment. Not enough times. We have let's see who else we got here. 2Man 3 to 4 times. We also have Prince Green twice. Okay, that's cool. I think Jay 4 times. The Black John once, and he was sold, folk. He doesn't even need to see it again. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we're having fun. But listen, Dreadpool, let's get your take on this. Again, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. Now, whether that's in 2026 or 2028, it is going to be a big deal. It is going to be based on the updated engine that Starfield is going to be running on. It is going to look like a next generation title, it is going to be a big deal. The question is, was this a mistake? Because she's not a gamer, the Microsoft attorney. So I do agree with Fuzzy, where I think either Fuzzy or C Money said it, that Final Fantasy 16 might have been stuck in her head because it's a lot. It's a lot to go over. Where do you kind of fall? 2026, 2028. Uh-oh, Dread, you're on mute, brother.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking 26. November 26. Maybe
Right
it's
for the holiday,
December 26, the day after Christmas of 2023. No, I mean, think about it. It's too soon. They even said that it won't take them that long to do, but with ambitious as Starfield is, you don't think they're going to try to one up Starfield again and try to push out something that's going to be another epic adventure? I don't think that they're going to go there and go, okay, well, we've put all this effort into Starfield. Let's go ahead and skimp out on this one here. We'll skip out on Skyrim and we'll just hurry up, get it done with, and move on. I don't see that happening. To be honest, I don't see that happening. So 26, I see as more of a misspeak. 28 is more probable. It just depends on where they're at right now with the assessment of the game. We're trying to figure out, because right now, all hands are on deck for Starfield. So anybody that's doing anything else has nothing is moved on from Starfield because they cannot do any more input for Starfield. But if Todd Howard is part of it, where do you think he is? He's in between. So again, you can't leave Todd Howard out of it. You have to bring him along. He's got input that he has to put in there. So again, I think they're still in the preliminary parts of building the games, trying to set out what the story is going to be about, how they're going to set it up to create your own story and kind of go from there. So that's why I think 2028 would be more reasonable. I mean, I know a lot of us would just take it right away. Okay, if it looks like Minecraft, we want to play it. Some of us will play it as is. But no, I think they're gonna do more than they've done before. They want to do as much as they can, as better, improve every step of the way. You always want to do better each time. So, my only issue with 2028 is if we have another generation of consoles, this will not be set up for the next generation of consoles. It'll be set up for this generation. And that's what happened with Cyberpunk 2027 or 2077.
I mean, maybe, yeah. There
So
definitely would be. Yeah, I agree there.
Keep that in mind. We got to remember these games are taking longer and longer. The bigger and more ambitious they are, they're going to miss the generation that they were built on. And that's unfortunately the fact that it's going to be part of our gaming culture. We're going to be playing games that really weren't designed for the generation we're on, and if it is, it's at the very end of it. So I think we shouldn't look into it too much. I think it's just a misspeak.
Yeah.
It could be a combination of trying to remember all these games that you're not really familiar with.
Yeah,
just
I agree.
Kind of mixing them up a little bit. You got to be articulate with what you're saying, but sometimes it comes out jumbled up, and I don't think it's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing. Let's let Starfield finish, get it out of the way.
Yep.
And they can all hands on deck on this one and get Skyrim out. And if it's an issue, we already know they're going to put it and they're going to get the quality out there. Maybe 2026 is a target date for something, right? For something. So maybe it's not a misspeak. We just don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we have to get Starfield first, folks. It's not even out. So we're going to enjoy the H out of Star. I mean, there are people still now discovering Elder Scrolls 5. right? There are people that are just like, wow, this is amazing, because they had the next generation update with the anniversary edition or whatever it was. Listen, all I know is that gaming is great. No matter what console you play on, there's something to play. I think that if you're an Xbox owner or supporter, you're eating good. I mean, Fist just dropped into Game Pass, which Fist was an PlayStation exclusive. Go play that game. I'm definitely going to get to playing Army of Ruin, which I'm going to go check out because and there was a new shooter. It's like I'm an old school arcade shooter, not like a Call of Duty shooter fan. Of course, I'm a fan of that. I'm talking about the old school bullet hell shooters. Icaraga is one of them. It was, R-Type. So I saw that Sarah Bond actually put out. There's a new one that's like it, so I'm gonna go check that out real quick. We have a new channel member of Cyber. Brother, welcome to the channel. And let me just catch up on these super chats, and then we'll get to the outros, folks. Like I said, I gotta bounce out of here today because they are repairing the truck, and I gotta take my time to get to there. So let me just catch up on super chats, and then we will get everyone out of here to start enjoying your somewhat holiday weekend. Because obviously, it would have been great if the 4th would have been on Monday, so people could have really started their holiday. But it falls on a Tuesday. Boo. But we have Chief Trey. Chief Trey drops very generous $5 super chat and says, "Do you think the FTC would downplay or admit they were wrong if this deal if Microsoft was true to their word and made games more accessible? No. The FTC is going to double down. The statement that I can see coming out of the FTC, if no PI is issued, and let's say on the 12th, we find out it's unsealed. We all know what's going on. The statement from the FTC is going to be, we are disappointed with the decision, but we accept it for what it is. Or you're going to be like, we're disappointed and we will appeal the judge's decision. They would never admit that they were wrong for blocking this. They know that they're wrong for blocking this deal. This is a political play by Lena Khan, who has a classroom ideology that is wrong. Her classroom ideology, because you got to remember, folks, she's a professor. I give her all the credit. She has all the the accolades you could want for someone who's an incredibly smart person. But her classroom theories are in that, just theories. And she took a job that she did not have before, and she's trying to use these classroom theories in real world practice, and it doesn't work. And it just doesn't work in the business world. So no, they would never admit it. Raiden Blade drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, "Theory of harm come from Robin Lee 20%, which was shared with the CMA, and Canada FTC don't approve deals. But they still waited way after the date to block." Yeah, it's just ridiculous. The Professor Lee they brought in was not a good witness for the FTC. It just wasn't. And the judge kept asking, where's this 20% coming? Where is the 20% coming from? And they couldn't answer. So I think that's a fail for the FTC. Splendiferous drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Boom, better be friendly or Mrs. Boom will get him." I've said this before, folks, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If I had to change who I am to grow, I quit the business. I'll close the channel tomorrow because I'm not going to sell out. I'm not going to be a D-bag for subs, because then at that point you're selling yourself like a hooker. I'm not doing that. If you like the content and you appreciate the goodness that goes into this, then you'll subscribe and you'll stay on. If you are a hateful bastard of a person, then maybe this channel isn't for you. Pardon the curse, but that's how I feel. I would quit the business tomorrow if I had to be a prick to gain ground. I just would not. There'd be no reason to do it. If I can't give goodness into the world, then why even bother? Raiden Blade drops an additional £5 super chat. Did I read that? Yeah, I just read that. Tim the Sorcerer drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, "Told Retri Karma is going to get the deal through." I hope so, brother. Dean Rivera drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, "Not a fan of closing arguments because all of the questions were asked to the FTC, with Microsoft only interjecting where needed. Doesn't seem fair. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but again, the closing arguments cannot be used as the only points of contention. It is everything. It is the evidence. It is the witnesses' statements. It is everything that they brought. Closing statements are just that. They're just closing statements. Yes, they are relevant, but they're not going to decide the case one way or the other. Hitman drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Xbox next console will be codenamed Dreamcast 2. I'd love that idea. Dreamcast, my favorite console of all time. Raiden Blade drops an additional generous £5 super chat and says, I'm creating Star Trek Voyager or Galaxy Ranger ship. I got the intro music in my head right now. I'm a real lawman, Brave Star, LOL. We kids had it, yeah. My name of my ship, folks, and you can take it if you want, but I put it out there on the socials. Hunter's Galaxy is the name of my ship, because I'm going to hunt the galaxy for effing pirates and kill them all and bring those bounties to be cashed in. I even did a mock-up of a ship with a picture of a skull and bones with a crosshair on its forehead. It looks really dope. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. But Scott Gamer Dude drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, just to stir things up, I prefer a new banjo over a Sonic. Brother, I am right there with you. Why? Listen, I just want to be alive until, first of all, I want to be alive till at least Resident Evil 17, which they're only at 9 or coming out with that. So I want to live a long time. I want to make the NYPD pay the pension that I earned for many, many years. So I want to get out of here, maybe around like 90-ish, still playing games. But come on. Could you do the old man a favor and do a new banjo? I hope so soon. But let's get to the outros. We'll start first with C Money, our special guest. Brother, sell your brand. First of all, shout out to your amazing family that you podcast with each and every week. You stream, you podcast, you have fun. It's a family affair. I love that about you guys. Talk about it. Sell it.
Thanks, Boom. I really appreciate it. And thanks to the rest of the panel for having me here. It was great. I want to apologize. I know that the chirp is real. And I know that the pain and suffering that you're
gonna take care of it. I know you are, brother. Don't worry.
Is a problem. Like I said, I'm at the office. Yes, it's my company, so I kind of have to blame myself. But I don't own the building, and he's supposed to take care of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't keep these batteries around. You know. But listen, normally I'm at home where we're chirp free. You know, no chirping around.
Back, brother. Trust me to tell you, the chirp didn't get you out of here. You're gonna be back sooner than later. But talk about it, brother. You have a very unique podcast with your family. Yes, I love what you guys do over there. Talk where people can subscribe.
Yeah, so it's right here on my name bar. It's Mario Kart Madman is the channel. We have a podcast we do every week. It's every Saturday, typically in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. It's a little rough. We have 6 kids, so we got a lot of moving that we have to do sometimes. But it's a podcast that we do. It's called On Point, the Game Newscast. With me, my wife Doodle, who is in the chat right now, Madman, who's also in the chat. That's my eldest son. And we have a slightly different take on the news because you have somebody like me who's more on the hardcore side, who dives deep into all this stuff. And then you have my wife, who's more of a casual gamer, but she also follows along to the industry, and she has her perspective on things. And then you have my son. He's going to be 17 soon. He has a slightly just a different perspective because he's on the younger side. Sees things a little differently. So we have a great show. It's normally about gaming as the biggest part, and we also dive into some anime and some movie talk, but like our type of movies, superhero movies and all those fun things. So we do that every week, every Saturday. And then we do a bunch of stuff during the week. We do a lot of live streams. We've transitioned fully to live streams. So, we play different games and all the fun things. We have a good time. So we would love for you to come check out our channel. It would be very cool of you guys. A bunch of you have come, so we do appreciate it. But yeah, we're about 130-ish, 140-ish away from hitting 11K subs.
Nice,
So
dude. Nice.
we would really appreciate it. It's just cool, man. It's cool to grow and get to do these fun things now. This has been something that I've wanted to do, especially come on your guys' show. Like I watched it all the time. It's like, man, I find myself talking along with you guys, like, oh, that's a good point. But what about this?
Yeah, no, that's why we have you back, brother, and you will be back, sir. But listen, all of C Money's information, where you can follow him on Twitter, where you can subscribe to his
C Money
amazing.
Forever on Twitter.
There you go, brother. Everything's gonna be in the description. So if you're not following him, if you're not subbed, please head over there. And it's a fantastic YouTube channel, very unique in their style. If you're a family kind of a ideologist, if you will, you definitely got to check it out. It's fun, it's clean, it's it's a family affair. I love it. I think it's unique in itself. That's why they have almost 11,000 subscribers. And of course, follow him on Twitter. And yes, of course, he will be back. And without the chirp, folks, take it easy. The chirp will be gone. No chirp. I promise. Chirp. All right, brother.
Listen,
love you.
It's family, so sometimes it gets messy, right?
That's what families do.
Family.
Yeah, that's all right. That's what families do, brother. Love you. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll get you out of here in a hot second. Web Dave, brother, sell your brand. You had a controversial interview.
Yeah,
I mean, but this is what you do. You're not always going to sit down with the saint. Sometimes you're going to sit down with the sinner. And that's what makes your content amazing. You interview everyone. You give everyone a fair shake. You let them go crazy. We get some inside information. But you also do a show, which I'll be guesting on in the next couple of weeks. We'll iron out the detail with, of course, the pirates known as Retri.
In the chat.
On Sundays. Talk about it. Sell your brand. Where can people follow you on social media? But more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Thanks, buddy. I'll make this quick, and I'll make it super quick, like a Pong Soul outro, if that's possible. But first to say thank you so much for having me. C Money, great having you, and we'll reach out to you soon to set up an interview. That would be great. Maybe we can get the whole family in for one big interview. That'd be
absolutely,
cool.
Man.
And then my gosh, a Retri in the chat, which is Game Pass Daily. I know we're push our channel. But I tell you right now, if you guys get a chance, jump on over to his YouTube channel. He is only like less than 50 away from getting at 500.
Nice, let's do it. Do it right now. Drop the link in there. Do it.
I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now because he's such a good partner, such a great guy to work with, and I appreciate everything he does for our show. So if you get a chance, go over there and just subscribe. You won't miss it. It's fantastic because he covers all the things about Game Pass, and we're big on Game Pass here. So he's definitely the guy to follow. So definitely want to do that. I have a new guest coming up Monday. New episode will drop, and that's Jesse from Xbox Era. So that's going to be a good show to, I guess, a palate cleanser, as it were. So for my last episode, which it was a good episode, it's just a matter of he's not for everybody, and I get that, but that's the whole point. I want to bring out different perspectives, different things for all people, and that's just the way I do things. And the last little thing I will say is that this Sunday is going to be an on fire show where we talk about the ABK deal and the Sonic purchase, all that kind of good stuff. Which is we have special guest Kay Asante, Slow Mo Backslap, and Mr. Bushido are all going to be guests.
Really good guests.
It's going to be an awesome one. And the last thing I'll say is that man, this community is amazing.
It is.
And we love everybody in it. I mean, Fuzzy Belvedere, Dreadpool, C Money, Mr. Boomstick. This is the good people that you want to make sure that you tune into and you subscribe to, because it can get kind of saucy and salty out there. I get it, but man, what a great community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thanks, Boom.
Thank you, brother. And I see a lot of people, a lot of threats out there. They want to steal my ship. Listen, don't traumatize me. Sea of Thieves did it, bro. I tell that story all the time.
Oh, Boom.
Real quick.
Boom. Last thing. Yes. If they buy Sega, what if Sega made a banjo game? Just saying.
I'm okay with that. Listen, I'd be happy with Nintendo making it and just being it on both platforms because I'd buy it for both. So there you go. But yeah, I'm traumatized, folks. I don't play Sea of Thieves. I try to play it solo. I went and I spent 2 or 3 hours getting a couple of chests. I came in, I was all excited. I got jumped by 4 people. They stole my loot, and I said, I'm never playing this game again because F that. So that's why I don't do the multiplayer stuff in Sea of Thieves. If there was a single player, like there was, I played the Pirates of the Caribbean. That was pretty dope. I enjoyed that, but I'm not getting jacked again, folks. I'm too old for this shit. Sorry. But listen, real quick, Dreadpool. You can find him on linktree.com/Dreadpool. You can find him on youtube.com/Dreadpool, Twitter @Dreadpool, TikTok @Dreadpool, hover.gg/Dreadpool. He obviously has his own YouTube channel where you can find Breaking Bread with Dread, a very unique way on podcasting, but he's also on Gaming Beyond the Box with Wilmy Hood on his show on Sundays at 7 p.m., as well as being here. Brother, sell it. How you feeling? And what can people expect from the next Breaking Bread with Dread?
Okay, well, we're working on it right now. We will get the audio coming out soon. I was told by next week we will have the audio out, and shortly to follow will be the video, the 360 version. So for those that don't know, I do my Breaking Bread with Dread, which is in person, which why it's always hard to get these going is trying to do these things in person, record it at a place of business that we eat at, and get this stuff going out there for you. So it's always difficult. And then the audio, trying to fix all that stuff. I do 360 VR stuff with these podcasts, these interviews. So you gotta give us a little bit of time and some leeway for that. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys that come out and check it out. I also do conventions. So next month I will be at conventions. So don't worry, I won't be sick next month. It'll be on and off because I'll either be at a convention or I'll be here with you guys. So you get to check out some really cool cosplays and other unique things at these conventions that I'll be putting out there. So I do a variety of things. There is no one thing about me. As you guys know, I am all over the place. And obviously I'm streaming with Death Dealer, my wife. We've been playing Dying Light 2, and we'll probably pick up another game to play together. I'm sorry, Dead Island 2. I'm sorry. I just saw the thing on. She's correcting me, guys. Dying Light 2 has a thing with Walking Dead. So that's not what we're currently playing. If you heard her, she's got to correct me. But yeah, don't worry about it. Love it. Have fun. Just enjoy gaming.
Yep.
Just like I said, get your debates out there. Listen to other people. Listen and speak your mind. Speak your truth. But don't walk away hating people. Just enjoy the games.
Yeah, and that's really what it's at the end of the day, folks. It's all about games. It is gaming. Enjoy wherever you enjoy playing. But last and no way least, Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, you're going to have your hands full in October when the new Forza Motorsport releases. Obviously, folks, if you're not subscribed to his YouTube channel, what are you doing? Get over there and subscribe to it right now. Let's help him get to 1K. And of course, Fuzzy, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Well, as always, want to thank you for having me on. It was awesome being on here with you guys, and it was so awesome having C Money on here as well. Love hearing your takes on things, and also followed you on Twitter. Good content, man. Definitely appreciate you being on here today. And shout out to Mr. Badbit for being here earlier. Another guy for PlayStation. If you also own a PlayStation like I do, definitely check out his content as well. And don't forget to hit the like button here. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning into us, taking the time to listen to us, and those that catch us on replay as well. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. I'm going to be working on some of my thoughts on the track list for Forza. So go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word on YouTube. And then I'm not going to be on there tonight, but don't hesitate to check out Xbox Ultimate Podcast on Fun Speculations channel later on, 10 p.m. tonight. Tends to go a little sideways sometimes on the conversation, but always good extended family people there. And always talking on current topics and things like that. And then you can find me on the Shop Podcast this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel, along with Pong Soul. And then check us back out here on Double Barrel Gaming on Monday at 12 noon for the Xbox Lunch Break Special. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, brother. And folks, ladies and gentlemen, a big shout out to all the super chats. My God, there was so many of them. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. We do really appreciate the incredible support. Of course, shout out to the panel. Shout out to Mr. Bad Bit. Get over there and follow him on the Trophy Room and follow him on social media. The guy's a really good dude, and he is one of the best PlayStation dudes in the business. He keeps it real, as he did today. And yeah, he's a PlayStation guy. He loves trophies. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make him out like a villain. But he gives credit where credit is due. And I can tell you this right now, he, without a doubt, is not only better in Halo than you, and certainly better than me. He plays the H out of Halo Infinite because he is a multiplayer madman. So PlayStation guy, loves Halo. I mean, what can go wrong? Go check him out over there. And of course, folks, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So have a good weekend. Be safe. Enjoy the holiday. This is the Popo. Don't drink and drive, folks. Please do not drink and drive. And enjoy gaming on whenever you enjoy gaming on. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.